Jack stared at the glowing warning. Every civilization powerful enough to harvest the energy of a star eventually attracts attention. The sentence refused to explain itself. There was no author, no date. Only those 12 words suspended above the ancient archive. The silence that followed felt heavier than anything the chamber had revealed before. Finally, the Guardian spoke.
Do not mistake attention for danger. The universe is filled with attention. Gravity pays attention. Stars pay attention. Time itself pays attention. The question is, who else might be watching?
The star map expanded until millions of suns surrounded Jack. Each appeared identical from a distance, yet the archive began highlighting subtle differences. One star dimmed at perfectly regular intervals. Another emitted bursts of radio energy that lasted only a fraction of a second. A third vanished behind a cloud of dust so dense that even the most powerful telescopes could barely study it. The Guardian continued.
When our ancestors first searched the heavens, they expected to find a galaxy overflowing with civilizations. Instead, they found silence. At first, they celebrated. Surely they believed they would become the first great civilization among the stars. But every century made that explanation less convincing. Their observatories became larger, their instruments more sensitive. Their search expanded farther into the galaxy. Still, no unmistakable evidence appeared. No enormous engineering projects. No artificial signals that could not be explained by nature. No unmistakable visitors crossing the darkness between stars. Only silence.
The scientists of Asterion became fascinated by the mystery. If intelligent life should be common, then where was everyone? They developed hundreds of explanations. Perhaps intelligent life was extraordinarily rare. Perhaps civilizations destroyed themselves before spreading beyond their worlds. Perhaps interstellar travel demanded more energy than any society could afford. Perhaps they simply searched in the wrong places. Every possibility remained on the table. The archive showed enormous arrays listening patiently to the faint whispers of the cosmos. Some searched for radio transmissions. Others searched for laser pulses. Some looked for unusual chemical signatures in distant atmospheres. Others searched for enormous structures surrounding faraway stars. Decades became centuries. Centuries became millennia. The silence remained. Jack frowned. The galaxy contained hundreds of billions of stars. Surely at least one civilization should have revealed itself. The Guardian nodded as though reading his thoughts.
That question haunted our greatest scientists. It also humbled them. We realized that our assumptions might be wrong. Perhaps advanced civilizations no longer communicate in ways primitive societies can detect. Perhaps they exist only briefly, or perhaps intelligence is far more precious than we ever imagined.
The archive never claimed to know the answer. Instead, it presented possibilities. One simulation showed civilizations rising and falling like sparks from a fire. Thousands appeared. Thousands disappeared. Only a handful survived long enough to master their worlds. An even smaller number expanded into their solar systems. The universe did not guarantee success. It merely offered opportunities. Time interrupted gently.
Across billions of years, I have watched countless beginnings. Very few become enduring stories. Progress is not inevitable. It must be chosen again and again by every generation.
Jack watched another simulation unfold. A civilization neglected its environment. Another exhausted its resources. A third became trapped by endless conflict. Each possessed intelligence. Each possessed technology. None possessed the wisdom required to endure. The archive highlighted Asterion once more. Its greatest achievement had never been limitless energy. Its greatest achievement had been surviving long enough to use that energy wisely. Only then did Jack truly understand the significance of becoming a Kardashev Type 1 civilization. It was never a trophy. It was evidence. Evidence that a civilization had overcome many of the obstacles that ended countless others before them. Yet even that realization did not explain the warning. Why would harvesting the energy of a star attract attention? The Guardian raised one final image. Far across the galaxy, an ordinary star slowly dimmed. Not because it was dying. Not because dust obscured it. Because something immense had begun collecting its light. The archive identified the object with a single phrase: artificial stellar engineering. Jack felt a chill. For the first time, he understood that a civilization advanced enough to reshape an entire star would become visible across enormous distances. Even if it wished to remain unnoticed, the universe suddenly felt much smaller, and much less empty. Jack continued watching the distant star. Its light faded so gradually that no human eye could ever notice the change. Only centuries of careful observation revealed the truth. Something enormous surrounded it. Not a single structure. Not a hollow shell. Billions of independent machines moved in silent harmony, each harvesting a tiny fraction of the star's endless energy. From nearby, the system would appear magnificent. From across the galaxy, it would appear unusual. That difference changed everything. The Guardian allowed the image to fade before speaking again.
Every civilization leaves fingerprints upon the universe. Primitive civilizations leave smoke. Industrial civilizations leave pollution. Planetary civilizations leave changing atmospheres. Stellar civilizations leave altered stars. No matter how carefully intelligence hides, physics remembers.
Jack realized that every great achievement carried an unavoidable consequence. Using more energy meant creating more heat. Building larger machines meant changing the appearance of planets and stars. Even perfect efficiency could never escape the laws of thermodynamics. Every civilization would eventually announce its existence simply by existing. Time smiled quietly.
The universe does not require introductions. It notices consequences.
The archive displayed hundreds of nearby stars. Most appeared completely ordinary. Then subtle differences began emerging. One emitted slightly more infrared radiation than expected. Another displayed tiny variations in brightness that repeated with impossible precision. A third appeared surrounded by a faint ring of artificial satellites reflecting starlight. None proved intelligent life, yet each deserved investigation. The scientists of Asterion learned to search not for messages but for engineering. Nature creates astonishing beauty. Intelligence creates astonishing patterns. The distinction is often subtle. A perfectly circular orbit repeated by billions of machines. Energy disappearing with mathematical regularity. Planetary atmospheres containing chemicals that should never exist naturally together. Tiny clues. Yet together, they told remarkable stories. Jack remembered humanity's own search for life. For generations, scientists listened for radio broadcasts from distant stars. The people of Asterion had eventually changed their strategy. Instead of asking who was speaking, they asked who was building. Construction leaves evidence long after voices fall silent. A civilization may choose never to transmit a single message. It cannot easily hide a structure larger than planets. The archive replayed thousands of observations collected across countless centuries. Many mysteries eventually received ordinary explanations. Unusual stars became binary systems. Strange signals became pulsars. Unexpected shadows became drifting clouds of dust. Science celebrated every solved mystery, because eliminating wrong answers brought them closer to the right ones. Then one observation refused to disappear. A star nearly 6,000 light-years away. Its brightness changed unpredictably, not periodically, not randomly. No natural explanation fit every measurement. The observatories watched patiently for almost 400 years. Every new generation inherited the same mystery. The Guardian looked toward Jack.
Patience is the most underestimated technology any civilization possesses. Many discoveries cannot be rushed. Some require centuries. Others require civilizations willing to continue experiments begun by ancestors they never met.
Jack slowly nodded. Humanity often measured progress within years. The people of Asterion measured it across lifetimes. The archive displayed a growing chain of scientists. Each added only a single observation. None solved the mystery alone. Yet together, they assembled one of the greatest investigations in their history. Time spoke once more.
Knowledge grows much like a forest. No single tree creates it. Generations plant seeds whose shade they will never live to enjoy.
Jack found himself wondering how many discoveries on Earth had begun exactly the same way. One scientist asking a question, another improving the measurement, a third finding an unexpected pattern. Progress rarely belonged to individuals. It belonged to civilizations. The mysterious star continued shining softly in the darkness. Whether it concealed a natural wonder or an artificial one remained uncertain. Yet the question itself transformed the people of Asterion. For the first time, they no longer viewed themselves as explorers searching an empty galaxy. They had become investigators studying a universe that might already contain countless stories waiting to be understood. And somewhere beyond the reach of every telescope they possessed, another civilization might have been asking the very same questions about them. The thought lingered in Jack's mind long after the final projection faded. Somewhere among the countless stars, another explorer might be looking toward Asterion, wondering whether anyone had ever lived there. For the first time, the universe felt connected. Not by ships, not by messages, but by curiosity. The Guardian extended a hand, and the chamber transformed once again. The stars vanished. In their place appeared a timeline stretching billions of years into both the past and the future. At its center rested a single glowing point. The present? Everything before it was fixed. Everything beyond it remained uncertain. Time stepped forward.
Many believe the future is something waiting to happen. I have watched enough civilizations to know a different truth. The future is something continuously created. Every decision reshapes it. Every discovery bends it. Every generation inherits the consequences of those who came before.
The timeline divided into thousands of possible paths. Some ended abruptly. Others continued for millions of years. One extended so far into the future that even the stars surrounding Asterion looked unfamiliar. Jack stared at the endless branches. Was this prophecy? The Guardian answered before he could ask.
These are not predictions. They are possibilities. Civilizations are not destroyed by destiny. They are guided by choices.
The archive began replaying moments from Asterion's earliest history. A scientist deciding to share a discovery instead of hiding it. An engineer choosing efficiency over convenience. A council investing in education instead of conflict. None of those moments seemed extraordinary. Yet together they changed the direction of an entire civilization. History rarely turns because of one great event. It changes because millions of ordinary decisions slowly point toward the same horizon. Jack thought of humanity. Every breakthrough on Earth had begun as a single idea inside a single mind. Electricity, flight, computers, space exploration, artificial intelligence. Each had seemed impossible before becoming ordinary. Time smiled.
The impossible has a remarkable habit of becoming history.
The timeline accelerated. Centuries passed in moments. The civilization of Asterion spread steadily through its solar system. Not through conquest, through patience. Every habitat was built to last centuries. Every station was designed to be repaired rather than replaced. Every machine carried knowledge forward to those who would one day improve it. The archive emphasized a lesson repeated throughout their history. Build for the people you will never meet. Jack realized how different that philosophy was from much of human history. Many societies planned for years. The people of Asterion planned for millennia. Entire generations devoted their lives to projects whose completion they would never witness. Yet they worked with pride because they understood something profound. A civilization survives only when every generation becomes a bridge instead of a destination. The Guardian pointed toward the distant stars.
Our ancestors did not ask what the universe could give us. They asked what kind of civilization deserved to explore it.
For several moments, nobody spoke. The silence carried more meaning than words. Then, another section of the archive awakened. Unlike every chamber before it, this one contained no cities, no spacecraft, no machines, only portraits. Thousands upon thousands of faces appeared around Jack. Scientists, builders, teachers, artists, farmers, doctors, children, ordinary people. The Guardian spoke softly.
History remembers civilizations through monuments. Time remembers them through people. Every invention, every observatory, every spacecraft, every triumph began with someone choosing to learn instead of surrendering to ignorance.
Jack slowly walked through the endless gallery. Each face represented one life, insignificant alone, transformational together. Perhaps that was the greatest misunderstanding surrounding advanced civilizations. People imagined impossible machines. The archive revealed something far simpler. A Type 1 civilization was not built by extraordinary technology. It was built by billions of ordinary individuals making extraordinary choices across countless generations. As the final portrait faded into darkness, a single star appeared once again. This time, it was not Asterion, it was Earth. Time looked toward Jack before speaking one final sentence.
Every great civilization you have witnessed today once looked exactly like this one. The question is not whether humanity can become a Kardashev Type 1 civilization. The question is whether it will choose to begin the journey.
Earth rotated silently before Jack. From this distance there were no borders, no politics, no arguments, only oceans reflecting sunlight, white clouds drifting across continents, and a thin blue atmosphere protecting every living thing humanity had ever known. The image lingered. The Guardian allowed the silence to speak before offering his final lesson.
Every civilization believes it lives at the most important moment in history. Very few realize they are living at the beginning of history instead.
The projection slowly overlaid Earth's future. Not one future. Thousands. Some timelines faded within centuries. Others stretched across millions of years. In one path, humanity exhausted the very systems that sustained it. In another, knowledge became more valuable than conflict. One future remained confined to a single planet. Another spread carefully throughout the solar system. None of them were guaranteed. Everyone depended upon choices that had not yet been made. Time stepped beside Earth.
I have watched worlds disappear because they believed tomorrow would resemble today. I have watched others survive because they prepared for futures they would never personally witness. The difference was never intelligence alone. It was vision.
Jack thought back to everything he had seen. The endless energy flowing through Asterion, the peaceful cities, the orbital habitats, the great observatories, the patience that spanned centuries. None of it had appeared overnight. Every achievement rested upon countless small decisions made by people who would never live to see the final result. Perhaps that was the true meaning of civilization. Not monuments, not machines, not even technology. A promise passed from one generation to the next. Leave the future stronger than you found it. The archive began shutting down. One chamber after another grew dark. The holograms faded. The great planetary model slowed until every stream of light disappeared. The Guardian looked toward Jack for the last time.
We built these archives knowing we would never meet those who learn from them. If you are hearing my voice, then our civilization succeeded in one final way. We were remembered.
His form dissolved into thousands of tiny points of light before vanishing completely. The chamber fell silent. Jack stood alone. The civilization of Asterion was gone. Its cities had become ruins. Its machines had become relics. Its people had returned to history, yet their greatest achievement had survived. Their ideas. Jack slowly returned to the ancient ship. The engines awakened once more, not because the vessel still served its creators, but because it had accepted a new purpose, to carry their story forward. As the ship lifted above the abandoned world, Asterion became smaller beneath him. The glowing cities existed now only in memory. Soon the planet itself disappeared behind the curve of its star. Time spoke one final time.
Civilizations are not measured by the tallest buildings they construct, or the greatest machines they invent. They are measured by how wisely they use knowledge, how carefully they protect the worlds that created them, and how courageously they prepare for futures they will never see. Humanity has not yet become a Kardashev Type 1 civilization. We still argue over energy that falls freely from the sky. We still consume more than we restore. We still think in years, while the universe thinks in billions of years. Yet every remarkable civilization I have ever witnessed began exactly the same way, with curiosity, with cooperation, with a generation willing to build something larger than itself.
Somewhere in the distant future, another explorer may discover the forgotten remains of Earth. What story will our world leave behind? Will they find evidence of a civilization that consumed its only home? Or one that learned to master its planet without destroying it? That answer has never belonged to time. It has always belonged to those living in the present. And for humanity, that story is only just beginning.